We have a new firmware update for the LG C1. I have right now the 033455. I'm going to update it to the 033470. Okay? And what I'm going to do after the update is I am going to check that everything is okay. Everything I can check. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a near black test pattern. I'm going to open HDR clipping patterns, make sure that I have access to this HDMI signaling override secret menu, which is the best we have for HDR on this LG C1. And also, I am going to check black frame insertion to see if LG listen to my firmware update proposal, which of course they didn't. But you know, I have hope that they listen, because actually there are some minor, well, I wouldn't say minor things. There are some things that need to be fixed for black frame insertion on this LG C1 to be perfect, which is basically it doesn't work at 60 Hertz. The only option that works is OLED Motion Pro High, and it is because medium, low, and auto are doing PWM at 240. So at 60 Hertz, the only option that works is high. And that is a problem because, yeah, it should work. You should have at 60 Hertz the option to use medium in case that you don't like the flickering. So medium is going to flicker a lot less. You're going to have less motion clarity, but some people are going to use that option instead. It's going to be brighter too. And also, when you use motion interpolation, my other proposal was that with motion interpolation, you have 60 Hertz. So with 60 Hertz, high is not going to work, because high is doing at 60 Hertz 120 Hertz PWM. So when you have motion interpolation, you go from 60 Hertz to having 120 FPS. So because you have 120 FPS, now medium and low work because they are doing 240 Hertz PWM. Okay, that's a little bit longer to explain. I have those videos. I'm gonna have a link in the description of this video to those videos where I propose and I explain LG how to fix it. And of course, I don't know how, but I just know exactly what the problem is, and I know they should be able to fix it. It's not a big deal. So I'm not expecting them to address that situation, but you know, I have a 0.0001% of hope that they did fix that. But yeah, basically what I want to make sure is that there is no picture quality damage, basically, because the calibration of this LG C1, in my opinion, is perfect in terms of the HDR, you know, the clipping points, the HDIG. It looks bright enough. It just looks perfect. When you use tone mapping off and you use all those options, 10,000 nits, 4,000, 1,000, you see on a HDR test pattern, you see that it works. There's no issues. So I just want to double check that's the case. And also I'm going to check with a near black test pattern to see if there's no picture quality damage. Okay. So let's see. Also, what I want to show you while we are waiting for this to finish, I want to show you how double washed out looks like. So basically, this picture that I have here open is native HDR, which looks perfect here. And on the left side, I have SDR. Same picture, but SDR. So now, on Windows 11 and Windows 10 too, all the SDR content looks washed out because it is limited inside HDR. So basically, I want you to see the difference, how that looks like. So this is washed out. This is how it is supposed to look. Of course, this is SDR. But SDR is not supposed to have these highlights and this awesome contrast, but it is not supposed to be washed out near black. So to fix that, you lower the black level or you force limit it on the TV. But the problem is when you force limit it, you are also clipping the whites. But basically, just a quick fix is you do this, black level, limited, and that's how it's supposed to look like. So look at this picture here in full range. This is how it is supposed to look like. The SDR content near black is supposed to look like this, but without the highlights. Now, take a look at this picture. When I force limited, this picture becomes like this one. See? That's why the games are fixed. When you fix that, you lower the black level basically. So the problem is some native HDR games, actually most of them have this issue on HDR. But when you open a game on SDR, actually the games are double washed out. So you would need to force limit it and also lower the black level. So basically, let me make it simple. Instead of forcing limited, if you have full range, but you come here and you lower this screen brightness, which is black level on the LG C2, you lower this to 46, that is the same as forcing limited near black. So you get rid of that washed out picture. So again, look at this as a reference at 50. Now this one is gonna look like this one if I lower it to 46. Okay? Now the games, they are double washed out. So you will need to lower this to 41, and that's the SDR HDR trick that I've been showing you. Or you can do 46 and then you can force limited. And that's the same. So 46 and forcing limited is double limiting the black level. Okay? That's how the games get that black level fixed. But you don't have to do this, because doing this, forcing limited, is going to change the white clipping. So I see that the firmware update is done. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to restart the TV. And I turn it off, and I turn it on back again. And then I'm gonna try to open all the HDR clipping patterns to see if there's no problem with the calibration. And I think that many people are scared, including me, about firmware updates because of Samsung, man. Samsung and the S95B issues, they basically, reduce the peak brightness of the TV like in 500 nits or something like that, which is insane. So Samsung has everyone scared about firmware updates. And in my opinion, firmware updates should improve things if it's possible, but they should not be changing picture quality at all. That's just terrible. Okay, so your TV software has been updated. So let's take a look. I don't see any problem with this video, but let's take a look at the clipping patterns. So let me lower here. Yeah, let's take a look at the clipping pattern. So if I open this 10,000 nits video, for example, let's see if everything is working as intended. I don't know why this is. That's okay. Let's see if everything is working as intended. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use HGIG and make sure that it is clipping at about 800 nits, the whites, what we have here. So if I use HGIG, this should not be flashing because I have 850 here, 1000, 1200. So if I use HGIG, only the 700 is clipping, which is correct. That's good. If I use tone mapping off, then I have the option to select, and this screen brightness doesn't affect that at all. Forcing limited does affect that. So if I have tone mapping off, let me see if I have access to a secret menu. I should. Oh my god, if I don't have access to that, LG really screwed up this thing. Uh-oh. Yeah, you have to press it quickly. So I have access to the menu. So now let's see, if I select mastering pick 1000, max CLL 1000, this should be disappearing here, and it is not. Let me change it, because maybe it needs to, yeah, I just needed to reset. Yeah, now it is gonna work. Okay, that is correct. So at 1000 I see the 850 flashing, the whites, but the 1000 is clipping, so all of this is white. If I change it to 2000, I should see the 1800 here flashing, and it is, no problem. So I don't think they screwed up the calibration. It is okay. I selected 4000, I should see this flashing, and I see it. See, no problem. So let me take a look at the near black test pattern. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this test pattern, which is the one I use to calibrate and set up the SDR HDR trick. Let me get control here over the peak brightness to increase the peak brightness, to max out that peak brightness on SDR. So we come here. Okay, so I have that slider max out. So let me open that near black test pattern. Okay, so this is the one. So right now, this doesn't matter. We're just testing near black, but these are the settings I use for the games, to play the games that don't support native HDR. So I have the screen brightness on 50, tone mapping off. So with these settings, and this thing doesn't let me see the near black test pattern. Okay, so with these settings, the near black test pattern is too bright. So if I lower this screen brightness to 46, the near black test pattern is going to be barely visible. So I can see the entire near black test pattern perfectly fine. If I lower it one more click, I am crushing already this, and I cannot see them. So 46 here is the same as forcing limited for the near black test pattern. So this is an SDR video. Okay, this is an SDR video. So all the SDR content on Windows is limited. So if I press limited here, I get the exact same result as if I am in full and I just lowered this to 46. Okay, so with this setting, I can watch all SDR content on Windows when I have HDR on. YouTube videos, everything. But now the games are double washed out. So to double limit the black level, I can keep this in 46 and come here to force limited. And what happens when I do that is that on this near black test pattern, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns counting from the right, and the rest is crushed. That is double limiting the black level. But I don't want to do this because this is affecting the white. So and I'm gonna show you that. So what I want to do basically is I want to keep it full, and I want to lower this screen brightness to 41. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the rest is crushed. That's how you open the games that don't support native HDR, or even if the game support native HDR and I want to use black frame insertion, OLED Motion Pro High, that's the best settings because it's the brightest settings. It just looks fantastic. So let me show you that when you force limited, the clipping point is going to change. Let me show you that with this clipping pattern, this white clipping pattern. So for example, here I'm gonna use tone mapping off, and I'm gonna change, well, this clipping pattern is too restricted. I'm gonna use the same clipping pattern, this one. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show you that forcing limited is going to affect the whites. And I'm just checking, by doing this, checking that the calibration of the TV is great, there's no problem. Okay, so for example, I selected tone mapping off, mastering peak 10,000, okay? And I can see the entire test pattern. But if I force limited, I am going to affect the whites. So the clipping point is gonna change. You will see. Boom! Now suddenly it is clipping at about 5,000. Okay? Is that something bad? Not at all. For example, if I have a game that has for some reason, I haven't seen it, but if we have one of those broken HDR games that the max CLL of that game is 5,000, this is the best option. It is not 4,000, because if you select 4,000 with full range, you are not going to get the maximum peak brightness. You're gonna get clipping because the max CLL of the game is more than the tone mapping. So you have tone mapping at 4,000, the max CLL of the game is 5,000. It's not gonna look good. But if you do this, you force limited, and then you use tone mapping 10,000 nits, you see here that it's clipping at 5,000. So this is, understanding this is something that can help you get a better result if we have like a weird case. And of course, the game needs to have the black level raised, otherwise we're gonna crush blacks. But usually they do have the black level raised. But if they don't and you still want that, maybe you can just come here and increase the black level. And we would need to figure out what would be the setting for that. So yeah, let me see what else I can test. Let me test the motion clarity. See if LG listened to my request. I don't think so. But let's check out the motion clarity. Let me open the NVIDIA control panel and change to OLED Motion Pro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to test OLED Motion Pro Medium and see if that works at 60 Hertz, which is one of my requests. Okay, so we have OLED Motion Pro Medium. And let's change the refresh rate to 60 Hertz. 60 Hertz. And let's open the UFO test. UFO test. And let's see how that looks. So what happened, what we're gonna do is we're gonna change it to 240 pixels per second. No, it's not fixed. So what happens is that it looks double. It looks double because OLED Motion Pro Medium is doing 240 Hertz PWM. And we need 120 Hertz PWM. So what's happening is that we are getting the same frame. We're getting two flashes of the same frame. So double refreshes. And that doesn't look good. It looks double. So yeah, it's the same crap. So I don't know what they changed with this firmware update. Let's do a quick search. And post in the link in the description of the video. And post a comment on the video if you see any issues with this firmware update. But let's see. So we have 033470. Let's see if there is any issues with this firmware update. 033470. See what the internet has to say about this firmware. (033470). This is from Reddit. LG OLED comments. Software version. Let's see. Let's open this and see what people has to say. No issues. No issues. And no issues that we can see. Let's see if we can get something from LG. We only have this Reddit post. So if we type in firmware update issues, we might get something from Samsung. Let's see. Yeah, LG has been pretty good with the firmware updates. We have the same Reddit post. So yeah, post on the comments if you see any issues. I don't see any issues. I see the same thing. Same behavior with the black from insertion. Same calibration, which is something good because I think it works very well. So I don't see any issues. I do not have a sound bar to test if there is any issue with the eARC port or something like that, something weird. Maybe they broke. But yeah, I don't know why is this firmware update. What is the purpose? Let me know in the description of the video if you have more information, and I will pin the best comment. Like if you have good information about it for everyone, I would pin a comment like that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions. Oh, but before I end the video, this video was recorded at 8K with the S23 Ultra 8K resolution. So it's gonna take a while for the 8K to be available, but yeah, I just wanted to see how my face look at 8K. Maybe you can zoom in and see the, every piece of hair on my face. So yeah, I'm not gonna be using that 8K a lot. It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially 30 FPS. 8K makes no sense, but yeah, just wanted to see how it looks. Let me know if you have any questions.